Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. My guest is an actor, dancer, and playwright working on stage, screen, and television. He has worked with some of the greatest director choreographers such as Hal Prince, Rob Marshall, and Jerome Robbins, and has partnered with such leading ladies as Chita Rivera on Broadway in Kiss of a Spider Woman and Catherine Zeta-Jones on film in Chicago. On TV, you know him from such hit shows as Sex and the City, CSI Miami, and Law and Order SVU, and on film opposite Mark Wahlberg and Joaquin Phoenix in The Yards. Well, his autobiographical new play called Small is creating quite a buzz. He will perform it at the Penguin Rep Theater in Stony Point, New York from March 18th through the 27th. Please say hello to my friend, Robert Montano.
Hey,
How are
Richie.
you?
I'm good. How you doing?
First of all, how are you, my friend, and where are you?
Well, I'm doing really well. I'm a little tired today because we rehearsed till 9 o'clock last night and we had our first blocking, and I am just like mentally just exhausted. So if I look a little tired, you know why. I'm in Manhattan. I'm back here in Nueva York. Yeah. So we're rehearsing downtown around 43rd Street, and yesterday was day two. Actually, and yesterday, um, I was telling my sound designer, Brian Ronan, who I love, he's
Yeah,
fantastic.
the best.
Yes, the best. And what the sound design that we've put together is just amazing for the show. Um, yeah. What was I going to just say, about Brian Ronan?
Well, that was day two, and like I said,
Oh, yeah. Day two. So I was last night. I was telling you, I was like, my God, today, meaning yesterday, March 2nd, marked 45 years to the day of my very first race at Aqueduct Racecourse. I was like, phew.
okay. Well, we have to let everybody know about this because, first of all, congratulations on the new production of your play Small.
Yeah.
How excited are you?
I'm I'm so excited. I don't even know what to do with myself. This has been in the making for I don't know how many years. I mean, it was written first as a film, and originally, actually, let me back up, to give the birth of it, because originally I had written it as a one-man play years ago. And then I thought, like, oh man, I don't know how to make this work. I just don't know how to make this work without having to tell people the sounds of, the birds chirping and the smells of manure and all of that. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to work this up. So I scrapped it. And then I decided, well, let me write it as a novel. And I did that, and I handed it to Terrence McNally. I said, would you do me a favor? Would you take a look at this? So he looked at it, he read it, and he said to me, let's talk. And he says, you need to write this as a film because it's so visual. How do I cut that out? That's so visual. So I was like, okay. So then I wrote it as a film called Under the Wire, but it was inspired by a true story. It wasn't based on a true story. And that was, many years in the making, and it had been optioned twice by two different companies. And, I was very clear that if they were going to make some changes and I wasn't happy with it, I was like, no, I'm just going to pull it back a little bit, take it back. So, and that's what happened, they were saying, well, they had dollar signs in their head, it's like, Seabiscuit made this amount of money and Seabiscuit that. I said, no, it's not Seabiscuit. I mean, this is about a boy's shattered dreams, and where does he go from there? His first love and just being crushed by that. And what does he do then? And, no matter how much I tried to be in this game of racing, it's like trying to put a size 12 foot in a size 6 shoe, and it just wasn't happening for me. But anyway, so then I had shelved the screenplay, and this wonderful director, Jackson Gay, who I had worked, I think, 3 or 4 different plays. She went on my website and she said, hey, you wrote a screenplay. And I said, yeah. And she said, can I read it? I was like, no. And she said, no. I said, yeah, I shelved it. Anyway, so I ended up giving it to her. She read it and she said, "Listen, you need to write this as a one-man play, and I need to be a part of this." And I was like, "No, I'm not doing any of that." And then, for a couple of years, she put that in my head, and I thought, like, what am I afraid of? Let me just write this. And so I, wrote a couple of pages, like 3 pages, and I hit send, and she got it. And she said, "This is what I'm talking about. This is what you need to, you know." So that was the birth of Small, and Small is just based on a true story. But a lot of things had taken place, a lot of metamorphosis in this whole creation too, with even the director, because Jackson got very, very, very busy, as she would. And she's amazing. But I struck on an amazing director by the name of Jesse Hill. So Jesse has kind of taken the helm, and we've kind of like, taken it to a different level now.
Well,
But
let's talk about this because for people who may not know, this is autobiographical. It's a story of your life. You were born in Queens. You were brought up in West Hempstead. Not too far away from the Belmont racetrack. Your dream was always to be a jockey, right? I mean, that was your dream growing up.
well, yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it was Hempstead,
Yeah,
and
I say.
Hempstead, and yeah, I was. My mother made the fatal mistake, and people will see it in the show, but she, I mean, literally brought me from church, name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. I hope I win the fifth. Let's go. And she brought me to Belmont Park right from church, and I just fell in love with the track, and but more than anything else, I mean, I was a lot smaller
Yeah.
than most of the kids in my grade, and I was, an easy target for them to come after me. I mean, it was not good for me, and I could barely hold my own. Um, and I felt like I was so disrespected, although I didn't know that that's what it was until I saw the jockeys. And when I saw the jockeys, come out, and everyone was just focused on them, and I was blown away by that. And then they get on these massive horses of 1,200 pounds, and the speed that they're going at, I was like, this is what I want to do, And my mother was friends with a jockey who she sold jewelry to at Fortune Offs, and uh, uh, and I just, I went after him, but she didn't even want me on the racetrack because she knew how dangerous it was. So when I was delivering newspapers for the Long Island Press, one of my brand new customers, the Duncans, as I was collecting money from them, I was like, your grass, your peat moss is really strong. And she said, no, 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 that's probably horse manure on my tires of my car. I was like, horse manure, where do you work? And she said, I work at Belmont Park Racetrack. I was like, oh my God. And I begged her to take me to the track. And I was sneaking out my window, it was summertime. We were on school break, and I was sneaking out my window and jumping off, the porch roof, and sneaking out to Sue Duncan's place. And she took me to the track, and, my mother and father like, where the hell have you been? So, and I said, I got to do this. This is what I want to do. I was like dead set on doing this. I had such a clear vision of wanting to work around the horses. I love horses. They're like overgrown dogs to me, although you can't put them on your lap. Yeah.
The interesting thing is you became a jockey, but then you deal with so many things in this play. You deal with bullying, you deal with, addictions that you dealt with to try to keep yourself, from not growing, and,
Yeah.
yourself as a jockey. And, you deal with so many incredible things. Then you became this incredible dancer. I mean, this is such a wild journey your play takes us on. So, I mean, when the jockey part ended, because I want people to come and see the play,
Yeah.
how did you decide you wanted to become a dancer?
Well, it was about the time when Saturday Night Fever broke. But I was already influenced by dance early on when I was a kid, with West Side Story. And because I was so bullied, at school, that when I was watching George Shakiris playing Bernardo, I was like, damn, I mean, this is who I want to be, and nobody's gonna mess with me, you know. But I thought, and then on top of it, as tough as he was a cool dancer, you know. So I was like, you know, that, and my mother used to make me watch, you know, the Ed Sullivan Show. She said, Bobby, hurry up, you know, Peter Gennaro's on the Ed Sullivan Show, you know. So I watched that. Um, and then I was watching, you know, not American Bandstand, but more Soul Train. I love Soul Train, and I was influenced by that. And when I was a kid and watching Wonderama and seeing these kids, you know, doing like 100 million counts of the same movement, and they win a bike, and I was like, Ma, put me on that show, you know, could do other kinds of moves, you know, I'll win that bike and then some, you know. And yeah, but when I was at the tail end of uh, my career as a jockey, I just didn't know what to do. And you know, my brother Stephen was grooming horses. I brought him on the racetrack with me, and we happened to be at Hialeah Racetrack. This was 1978, but it was at the height of the disco craze. So we would go to the clubs, you know, and I was smitten by that. And then on top of that, I have to say they were shooting a movie at Hialeah called The Champ.
Yeah.
And some guy, while they were filming, you know, said, "Hey kid, if you ride your horse across the screen, you know, we can give you some extra money." I was like, "Really? Okay." You know, and I had no, I didn't know what the rules were of all of that, and you know, I was going to that guy and I was tapping him on the shoulder, and I say, "Hey, you think I could, you know, see what's going on?" He said, "Yeah, but you have to be quiet, okay?" It was Franco Zeffirelli. I had no idea. So, uh, and I got smitten by that they were pretending doing what they were doing, you know, on the other side of that screen camera. And I called my father up and I said, you know, I think I want to go to college. And he said, what are you thinking of? You know, and my sister, you know, she was like, you know, you got to dance. You have rhythm. So, you know, and from there, that's when they looked into, this was probably, you know, by this time, it was probably like, yeah, 1979, you know, and they were looking at school. So, yeah. And then I got into Adelphi University. I had never taken a dance class, not one ballet, not one modern dance class. I auditioned. I was told that I had to bring in like a 4 minute choreographic piece. I said, "Oh, what is that?" And, you know, I was thinking, I looked it up, and so I, you know, created something to Donna Summer's Bad Girls. So yeah,
And
and
the rest,
and the
well,
rest
I
is his.
Yeah, I mean, your first big break was the tour of Cats, but you have worked with so many incredible people on stage, and one of them is right behind me. I mean, talk about the influence that Chita Rivera has had on your life, professionally and personally.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, I'll never forget the first day when I met her. You know, it was I was auditioning for her show, which I did not know. Um, it was they were looking for only one person. I got a call from Wayne Salento when I was doing West Side Story at the San Jose Civic Light Opera, and he left a message, and me to call him back, and I called him back, and he's talking to me about, and he said, "Yeah, can you be here on Monday?" I said, "Yeah, I finished my show on Sunday." Yeah, so you know, it was at American Dance Machine when it was like on between 43rd, 44th, and Ninth, somewhere around there, Lee Theodore's place, and I went up there, and there was like about, I don't know, like about 20 to 30 guys in there, and I knew most of them. I was like, wow, this is crazy. She's got a big show going on, and here I'm thinking that, you know, I was being hired by Wayne. No, no. He said, "Do you have your sheet music with you?" I was like thinking to myself, "Don't you have your sheet music for the show?" You know, and then I realized, like, oh no, they're audition. This is an audition. So I had to run back up to 57th Street to get my music after I got, you know, saved from, you know, dancing. I got kept, and I sung, and I was horrible at it, and I was very, very animated. And then Wayne had said, you know, and Lisa was there, Lisa Mordente, and I didn't know who she was, you know, and he said, "Can you come back in about like 30 minutes?" I was like, "Yeah, sure," you know, after I sang, and I come back, and went to get coffee, and when I came back, and I waiting around, and nobody's there. It's dead quiet. I was like, oh, maybe I messed up here. And then I kind of ducked my head in the door, and Wayne said, "Yeah, we'll be right with you." I was saying, "Oh, okay, all right, sorry, you know." And he said, "Okay, Robert, come on in." And I come in, and he says, "Yeah, Robert, I want you to meet Cheetah Rivera. Cheetah, this is Robert Montano." I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, what an amazing pleasure this is for me to meet you." And she says, "Come here, honey." And she hugged me. She says, "Welcome, welcome to the family. You know, you got the job." And I was like, "I did?" And she said, "Yes, you did." And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know what to say." And she said, "When do you think you could start?" And I said, "Anytime." She said, "Well, how about now?" I said, "Sure, I got my dance clothes with me, you know." I said, "But where are the other guys, you know?" And she said, "Oh, no, no, no. It's just you. It's you and Wayne." I was like, "Oh my God. Had I known that before I auditioned, I would have choked." But having done her show, um, Cheetah Plus Two, you know, with Wayne, and then when Wayne couldn't do it, it was Tony Stevens. But watching Cheetah and how she worked and how she conducted herself, um, for me was a huge masterclass. And then we ended up doing, you know, Kiss of the Spider Woman together. And we had been just so comfortable with each other. And she's the one that actually said to me, "You know, you have to audition for the show." And we were in the Westwood Playhouse, and I was doing her act, Cheetah Plus Two, but with Richard Montoya. And that's where they held the auditions for Spider Woman out there. And she said, "You got to go because, you know, I need you to lift me and all." So it's like, "I trust you." I was like, "Okay." So I went, got the gig, you
And you
know.
got the gig. She is so proud of you because I was at one of the readings of Small. We sat there together. She's
Mm.
so proud of his play, as I am. I mean, I've known you as a performer, and it's so great. I just want you to tell me what you hope audiences walk away with after seeing Small, because you deal with so many incredible issues in this play.
Well, I mean, first of all, I hope they're inspired by it because really, I mean, even though your first love crushes you, you can still, you know, carry on. Something else will come along that is just right for you. And also, I mean, yeah, there are issues in there like bulimia, like drugs, you know. Um, but, you know, the story really is about, you know, perseverance and resilience. And if you have a quench for life, you know, you will continue on and you'll be better for it. You know, it's just it's such a journey. All the life lessons I have learned from the racetrack, I was able to transfer it and use that same discipline and fearlessness in this business that we call show.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I hope they're inspired by it because it's, you know, it's kind of like Rocky meets the wrestler, but you know, it's really Rocky at the end. So it's Rocky, wrestler, and then Rocky. Hey,
Well, like I said, it's an incredible play because the journey you take the audience on and the journey that you've been on, like I said, of, you know, being a small little kid trying to find your way. You found it first being a jockey, then becoming an incredible dancer, then becoming an incredible actor on stage, screen, and TV. I mean, you should be very proud of this, my friend.
oh man, thank you, Richie. Thank you. Coming from you, thank you.
Well, I want to tell you once again, Robert will be performing his autobiographical play Small from March 18th through the 27th at the Penguin Rep Theater in Stony Point, New York. Tickets are available at tix5.centerstageticketing.com. Robert, thank you for dropping by today, my friend.
Thank you. Great seeing you. Always.
The show. Take care, everyone.
All right.